So you tried willpower. You have told yourself, I just need to try harder, be more disciplined, stop being weak. And maybe it even worked for a while. You white knuckled your way through. You forced yourself to do the thing. You used pure determination to override the resistance. But then you burned out, or you got tired, or life got stressful, and the pattern came back. So you concluded, I failed. I'm not disciplined enough. I am weak. But here is what I want you to understand. The reason willpower has not worked isn't because you're weak. It's because you're trying to solve an integration failure with brute force. And in this video, I'm going to explain exactly what that means and why it changes everything. Let me quickly recap where we have been. In video 1, we established that there is a gap between knowing and doing. You act against your own wisdom and it's exhausting. In video 2, we diagnosed the 3 types of contradictions you're experiencing: the values actions gap, the understanding application gap, complex decision paralysis. And now, in this video, we are answering the crucial question: why haven't the obvious solutions worked? Why hasn't willpower solved values actions gap? Why hasn't more self-criticism helped? Why hasn't motivation lasted? Because once you understand why these approaches fail, you will understand what actually does work. Let's start with willpower. Our culture has a deep belief in willpower. Just do it. Mind over matter. Winners never quit. You can do anything if you want it badly enough. That is the willpower myth, that a solution to not doing what you should do is simply trying harder. And I'm not saying that willpower is useless. It's not. Willpower can help you push through temporary discomfort. It can help you start something new. It can help you maintain effort when you're already aligned. But here is what willpower cannot do. It cannot create lasting change when your internal system is pulling in different directions. Let me show you what I mean with a metaphor. Imagine you have a cart being pulled by 3 horses. The first horse represents your conscious values and intentions. This is the part of you that knows what you should do. It is intelligent, well informed, and clear about the right direction. The second horse represents your emotions and immediate desires. This is the part of you that wants comfort, pleasure, and the avoidance of pain. It's not stupid, it's just operating on a different time frame and with different priorities. The third horse represents your habitual patterns and subconscious programming. This is the part of you that runs on autopilot, doing what it has always done because that's what feels familiar and efficient. Now, when these 3 horses are pulling in the same direction, when your values, emotions, and habits are aligned, the cart moves smoothly, effortlessly. You don't need willpower, you're just going where you naturally want to go. But when these 3 horses are pulling in different directions, the first horse, your values, says you should go to gym. The second horse, your emotions, would say, I want to stay on the couch where it's comfortable. The third horse, your habits, would say, we always watch TV at this time, that's what we do. In the result, the cart barely moves, or it moves in circles, or it lurches forward and then gets pulled back. And you are standing there with a whip, trying to force the horses to cooperate. That is willpower. You're whipping the horses harder, yelling at them, criticizing them for not pulling together. But here is the problem. Whipping the horses harder doesn't make them pull in the same direction. It exhausts them and it exhausts you. Willpower is the whip, and the whip does not create integration. It creates temporary compliance through force. So let's be precise about why willpower fails as a long-term solution. First reason is willpower is a finite resource. Willpower operates like a muscle. It gets tired. Every time you use willpower to override your natural impulses, you deplete your capacity. This is why you can be disciplined all day and then collapse into poor choices at night. This is why you can maintain a new habit for a few weeks and then crack under stress. Willpower is a limited resource. You cannot maintain high-intensity willpower indefinitely. Reason number 2, willpower does not address root causes. Let's say you are procrastinating on an important project. You use willpower to force yourself to work on it. But you never asked, why am I procrastinating in the first place? Maybe you are afraid of failure. Maybe the project doesn't align with your values. Maybe you are overwhelmed and don't know where to start. Willpower overrides the symptom, the procrastination, without addressing the cause. So the procrastination keeps coming back because the underlying issue is still there. Reason number 3, willpower creates internal warfare. When you rely on willpower, you are essentially going to war with yourself. One part of you wants one thing, another part wants something else, and you are using force to make one part comply. But here is what happens when you go to war with yourself. You create resentment, you create fatigue, you create a relationship with yourself that's based on force and criticism rather than understanding and integration. And eventually, you rebel against your own oppression. This is why people snap, why they binge after restricting, why you quit after pushing too hard. You're not weak, you're just exhausted from fighting yourself. So if willpower is the problem, what is the solution? The answer is integration. Here is what you need to understand. The contradictions you are facing, all 3 types, are not character flaws. They are integration failures. Let me explain what that means. Integration means your values, your understanding, your emotions, your habits, and your actions are all pulling in the same direction. When you're integrated, what you value and what you do are aligned. What you understand and what you can apply are aligned. What you want and what you choose are aligned. There is no internal friction, no wasted energy on internal conflict. You're not using willpower to force compliance. You're just naturally doing what aligns with who you are. An integration failure means these parts are pulling in different directions. Your values say one thing, your emotions say another, your habits say a third thing. And your conscious mind, the part that's aware of the contradiction, is stuck in the middle trying to referee. Now, here is the crucial insight. You cannot solve an integration failure by trying harder at the level of action because the problem isn't in your actions. The problem is that your internal system is not integrated. Think of it like a computer with multiple programs fighting for resources. One program is trying to run your values, another is trying to run your emotional protection systems, another is trying to run your habitual efficiency protocols. They're all good programs, they all serve important functions, but they're not coordinated, they're not integrated. And the solution is not to run one program harder using willpower. The solution is to upgrade your operating system, the system that coordinates all the programs. That's what Contradiction-Free Living framework does. It upgrades your inner operating system so that the integration becomes natural than forced. You develop three foundational capabilities: the observer, to see what's actually happening; the analyst, to understand why patterns exist; equanimity, to maintain stability while integrating. And you learn four constitutional principles that guide these capabilities towards wise integration: integration over abandonment, foundation first architecture, natural discovery over planning, and sustainable excellence. With these capabilities and principles, you are not forcing the horses to pull in the same direction through willpower. You are becoming the kind of person who naturally aligns the horses because you understand them, because you can work with them skillfully. Now, related to willpower is another approach that doesn't work: self criticism. What's wrong with me? Why am I so weak? I'm such a failure. I should be better than this. You have probably tried this too. Maybe you thought being harder on yourself would motivate you to change. But here is what actually happens when you criticize yourself harshly. First, it activates your threat response. Your brain interprets self criticism as an attack, which triggers defensive reactions, which makes you less capable of honest self examination and growth, not more. Second, it focuses on judgment rather than understanding. Self criticism asks, "What's wrong with me?" But that's the wrong question. The right question is, "What's happening here? What function is this pattern serving? What need is it trying to meet?" Self criticism shuts down curiosity. It replaces investigation with condemnation. Third, it creates shame. It drives the behavior underground. When you shame yourself for a pattern, you don't eliminate the pattern, you just hide it better. The pattern continues, but now with added layers of shame and secrecy. The alternative to self criticism is not self indulgence or making excuses. The alternative is compassionate analysis, understanding why you do what you do without judgment, investigating the root causes with curiosity rather than condemnation. And that's what the analyst capability teaches. And it's far more effective than criticism could ever be. And then there is motivation. You have probably had the experience of feeling really motivated to change something. Maybe you watched an inspiring video, read a powerful book, had a moment of clarity where you thought, "That's it, I'm done with this pattern. Starting now, things are different." And for a day or a week or even a month, you were different. The motivation carried you. You didn't need willpower because the inspiration was strong enough. But then the motivation faded. Life got busy. The initial excitement wore off. The inspiration that felt so powerful became just a memory, and you are back where you started. Here is why motivation doesn't work as a long term solution. Motivation is an emotional state. An emotional state is always temporary. You cannot maintain peak emotional intensity indefinitely. That's not how emotions work. Emotions are designed to be temporary signals and not permanent states. So, if your entire system for change depends on maintaining motivation, you are building on unstable ground. What you need instead are capabilities that function regardless of your emotional state. You need the observer to notice patterns even when you're not motivated. You need the analyst to understand the causes even when you're tired. And you need equanimity to maintain stability even when the initial excitement has faded. Motivation can help you start, but capabilities allow you to sustain. And that's the difference between temporary change and lasting transformation. So let me summarize what we have learned. Willpower fails because it is a finite resource and it creates internal warfare without addressing the root causes. Self-criticism fails because it activates threat response, shuts down curiosity, and creates shame. Motivation fails because it's temporary emotional state and not a sustainable capability. The actual solution is to develop a better system, a better inner operating system. You need capabilities that function regardless of your willpower, regardless of your emotional state, and regardless of whether you are motivated. You need the ability to notice what's happening. That's the observer. The ability to understand why it's happening, the analyst, and the ability to stay stable while you work with it, equanimity. And you need guiding principles that direct these capabilities towards wise integration. And that's what Contradiction-Free Living framework provides. Not a quick fix, not a motivational boost, not more self-criticism, but a systematic approach to building the capabilities that make contradiction-free living natural. In the next video, I'm going to show you the complete framework, the 3 capabilities and the 4 principles, how they work together, how they address the 3 types of contradictions. And this is where everything comes together. You now understand the problem. You can diagnose your patterns, and you understand why the obvious solutions have not worked. You are now ready for the framework. In the next video, I'm going to give you the complete map, the complete CFL framework. 3 capabilities, 4 principles, how they integrate, how they work. This is the foundation of everything that follows. Watch video number 4. Link is in the description. Let's build your new operating system. I'll see you there.